It's actually interesting. We're reading this book right now. The guy that wrote it, one of his big names to fame is he basically created a Netflix. And what was interesting though is in the book, he talks about their process and where their process stops. And their process stopped when they give the login information and be able to watch these videos. And so basically they were like, here's your login information. You paid for it. Done. And our approach is so different. We can't say done until the person that came into our community is trading on a consistently profitable. They are trading 3 times a week minimum and profitable every single week. That is a consistently profitable trader. Until that is happening, we're not done. How we've helped people accomplish the consistency in their trading has evolved over the years. We've done all sorts of things to improve on it, to make pivots based on feedback from our community. We have a number of people with this struggle. Let's make a pivot. What are some solutions? How can we help them? Basically, at the beginning of the year, we made a massive pivot. And at the end of the day, that pivot has been extraordinarily impactful. And so we switched from what's called binary options trading all over to James Leone and Forex as the primary focus. Since doing that, our people have made significantly more money. They are consistently more consistent with their profits in the markets. There's one more tweak that we made though this year that was also a big deal. We call it an accountability system. When people are done trading, they can submit to us their trades that they took, whether they were profitable or not. How many pips did they gain? How many did they lose? How are they feeling in the market? And they fill out this little form that gives our coaches the details of their trading experience so that we can review it and provide feedback to them and hold them accountable. We want to help you guys. We cannot help you unless you're giving us the tools we need to do it. Lo and behold, the overall consistency of our community since implementing that has been extraordinarily better. It's absolutely outstanding. We're very, very proud of where we are. So now what? How do we take what we have now and make it even better?
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for hanging out with us on the Prosperity U podcast today. So for those that are new, we're excited to have you. And it's very important to understand that we are attracting the 1%. And you may not be living in the 1% here right now today, but we're attracting those that understand that it takes a certain initiative to get into that 1%. It takes a certain level of commitment and coachability. And so ultimately, we have a mission, a vision, and a value system. And this is either going to attract you or it's going to repel you, okay? So very simple. Our mission is to impact the world by bringing life-giving principles of prosperity to it. The vision is to guide our community to back engineer their full power and potential with purpose-driven growth so they can do more of the things they love with the people they love most. And our values are comprised of 3 I's. Number 1 is impact, number 2, integrity, and number 3 with intentionality. So in order to impact the world, we value time, health, relationships, and legacy relentlessly at the highest level. With integrity, we value people over profits, and we are driven and dedicated to the success of our community. And with intentionality, we provide result-oriented support through mentorship to ignite an inspired and focused community. And ultimately, how do we help people drive more impact and income across the nations? It is through a skill set that we call trading. And some people, obviously, if you're listening to this, you're more than interested. You've probably learned we attract 2 kinds of people here, or three actually. There's 3 types of people. Number 1 person is you're just learning how to trade, or you're just learning about the concept of trading. The second type of person is somebody who has a level of experience, and that ultimately goes into 2 kinds of levels of experience. Number 1 is the person that has a really horrible experience, which is probably about 97% of people. And then the other one is that has experience and they're doing pretty good, but they want to look for ways to do even better. And we help those guys as well. So with that being said, Zach is going to be sharing a little bit about him today, and we're making it all about him and his big bald head that's going to get bigger. because he's going to be sharing some of not only his results, but some of the other people's results. And I've got a message right now from one of our students that I'm excited to share as well. So stick around for that. But other than that, Zach is a very talented individual. And one of those things that he's very talented at is guiding us in our conversation. So I'll let you get to that, Zach.
I like Zach's intro better.
Oh,
Today, Junior.
Today.
so I thought it would be kind of cool. Our focus. It's actually interesting. We're reading this book right now as a team. Our entire team. We made them read it, but we're reading this book, and what's interesting is the guy that wrote it. One of his big names to fame is he basically created a Netflix for entrepreneurs. Really cool website, cool program. And what was interesting though is in the book he talks about their process and where their process stops. And their process stopped when they give the login information for people to log in and be able to watch these videos about copywriting, marketing, Facebook ads, whatever. Okay. And so basically they were like, here's your login information. You paid for it. Done. And our approach is so different. We don't see, we can't say done until the person that came into our community is trading on a consistent basis, consistently profitable. What I mean by that is they are trading 3 times a week minimum and profitable every single week. That is a consistently profitable trader. Until that is happening, we're not done. Okay. It's a very different approach than most businesses. Most business models, it's like, hey, we gave you the information. Good luck to you. And that's just not how we do it. Now, how we've helped people accomplish the consistency in their trading has evolved over the years, right? We've done all sorts of things to improve on it, to make pivots based on feedback from our community. Oh my gosh, we have a number of people with this struggle. Let's make a pivot. What are some solutions? How can we help them? And so everything has kind of shifted and pivoted, and we're about to do another pivot. And so I kind of want to talk about that. So basically this year, 2024, at the beginning of the year, we made a massive pivot. And at the end of the day, that pivot has been extraordinarily impactful in a very positive way for the vast majority of our people. And so what we did is we switched from focusing primarily on what's called binary options trading, which is a great vehicle. However, it is more risky. And we switched it all over to James Leone and Forex as the primary focus. Since doing that, our people have made significantly more money. They are consistently more consistent with their profits in the markets. It's just been a wonderful, glorious experience. There's one more tweak that we made, though, this year that was also a big deal that got a couple people mad at us. We have a system, we call it an accountability system, okay? To do a brief overview of what that is, when people are done trading, they can submit to us their trades that they took, whether they were profitable or not, how many pips did they gain, how many did they lose, how are they feeling in the market, and they fill out this little form that gives our coaches the details of their trading experience so that we can review it and provide feedback to them and hold them accountable. And we can say, hey, look, you took this trade, but your trading plan says you should not take a trade unless something else happens. So you were breaking your own rules, right? And we hold them accountable at that level. Well, when we first made this switch at the beginning of the year to Forex, James Leone as the focus, people weren't doing that. They were not submitting. I'm saying one person, he's actually on this call because he's a beast. One person was submitting. That's it. No one else was. And we're like, dude, we have this. We want to help you guys. We cannot help you unless you're giving us the tools we need to do it. So what we decided to do, this was kind of pissed people off at first, but we said, you know what? If you want to get on James's session, we're now going to change the password to his sessions every week. And if you want to get on that, you have to submit your trades to us once a week, at least. Oh, some people were like, fine. Other people were like, hey, that's not fair. And I had to talk to those people and listen, this is, I promise you, just give it a shot. Just give it a shot for a couple weeks. Let's see what happens. Lo and behold, the overall consistency of our community since implementing that has been extraordinarily better. On average, our members are getting between 80 to 100 pips per week. Okay. It's absolutely outstanding. We're very, very proud of where we are. So now what? How do we take what we have now and make it even better?
And with that
So,
said, I have a very special surprise. Again, I mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, but I have just developed something even more exciting than what I mentioned before. And so we'll get to that. Stick around. Let's unpack that for us first there, Zach.
okay. So, what we decided to do when we get some people coming in and they're kind of looking for a new place to call home. They're looking for help with their trading. Bryan mentioned the type of different types of people that we have come in. Well, some of those people they're looking for some hard evidence of trades. And we could show them spreadsheets all day long, but spreadsheets can be manipulated. They want like concrete statements and things like that. So what we decided to do very recently this week is to hook up my account to my FX book. So we created a brand new account because we're also using it as a case study. We put in roughly $240 into the thing to start it out, just to show you guys how much you can actually progress relatively quickly. And we connected that to my FX book so that you guys can see the progress that I can make with my own skill set. And I've only learned Forex this year. This is my first year trading Forex. So it's a
You
relative
started back in February, right?
February. Yep.
Okay, so it's been a very reasonably short amount of time.
Yes. Yes.
So just to clarify, with the smaller investment we started with, we do want most people to start around that level.
Yep.
You don't need thousands and thousands of dollars.
We've had students that start with 50 and have turned that into multiple thousands. As a matter of fact, I'll let you unpack, and then we'll get into the. I'm just so
Okay.
excited.
I'll
I'm
let
just like,
you
oh,
unpack
it's
too.
building
So
up. It's just building up here.
Yeah. So we're starting there, and I'm starting at the gate. If you're inside our community, you understand we have a thing called the gate system. So if you think about going to the gym and lifting weights, if you want to learn how to deadlift 500 pounds, you start with a lower weight. You start with 150 pounds. When you can lift that consistently for however many reps, you add 10 pounds to it, right? Or 5 pounds to it. And you slowly increase it until you get to 5. Well, our way of doing that is called the gate system. Think of it almost like a video game. You have to hit a certain amount of pips to level up. And if you lose a certain amount of pips,
Okie dokie. Select
That's
match.
right, that's right.
Okay. Here we go.
your Mario is so good.
Select level.
So I was on gate 10. Okay. I'm starting over at gate 1 on this account to show you also how that can progress. 2 days in a row, I've hit over 30 pips. This is when I just started trading this sucker yesterday and today. But the main kicker here is, how does this benefit our community? Well, the main reason is I said, hey, you know what? I'm confident in making my trades public. I'm okay with that. However, my win rate was at the time 70%-ish, right? And I'm like, I'd love for that to be higher. I'd love for that to be more accurate since this is going to be a public thing. And so I met with James and he's like, let's do it. I'll get you up at a 90%, win rate. And so he taught me I've had one one-on-one with him so far in the years we've worked with him. And so my first one-on-one with him was on Tuesday. And he taught me more about how to look at other time frames and how they can align with your trading. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's okay. It's part of the training that we're going to be developing and repivoting. Okay.
And if you're brand new and you're listening right now and you're like, I don't want to learn from someone who just started in February, we want to clarify James is who we call our Yoda, very wise. He's been trading for 20 years on the 7-figure level. He's the one that has the impressive.
Not only that, but Zach is literally taken an account from like it was you were getting 100% a month.
Yeah.
So 5 consecutive months, 500%, and then last week 253%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's insane. And I mean, you have taken accounts with binary options from 590K in 90 days, 1,000 to 88,000 in a month. Like I was able to take 2,000 to 43 just from learning from you. 2043 in a week, 43K, just to just to be clear. These things have happened with binary. Now it's like let's quickly with that. Why are we shifting from, why did we shift from that? And what do you see the differences with Forex to binary? Like why is Forex so much more in your eyes impactful?
Yeah. So it's so much more impactful because it's a lot harder to be stupid with it. So what I mean by that is stupid, foolish, however you want to word it, because in binary, if you take a hit, it's very easy to just click and enter another trade immediately, and then to do it again and again and again before you know it, you lose your entire account balance,
Mm.
right? Forex is different. When you enter and it starts going the wrong way, in order for you to have a similar result where you lose your whole account, you have to literally watch it go the wrong way for like an hour. You know what I mean? Like you have plenty of time to make a decision to just take the hit, right? It's so you have to be a special kind of fool that day to do that. And that's why we do have rules, hard rules in place, and you have a trading plan so that you can avoid those kinds of things and definitely get out as soon as humanly possible if it's not going your way, strategically, right? So I'll give you a prime example. Actually, today I was already up over 30 pips, um, and there was a pretty clean entry coming, and I took it, but it started to kind of go the wrong way, so I got out. Like I chickened out. I'm like, nah, I got 30 pips already today. My goal is 20. So I was already over my goal. So I got out. It proceeded to go the wrong way for like 15 pips. And then it went the right way for like 100 pips. It went the way I thought it was going to go the whole time by like a lot. So I messaged James and I said, hey, look at this. I thought it was, but then it started not doing it. Like if I had held it, I would have panicked and gotten out with loss. I got
And
out with
what,
a gain of 1 pip, right? And so I'm like, how do you know when to hold that kind of thing? And you can still see it. And sure enough, he came back with real analytical answers of what to look for and how to spot that.
did it have anything to do with what I was saying earlier, or was it something different?
It was something a little bit different.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear about it then, because
But it was it's kind of the same. It had to do with the TSI, which is also the MACD. So
okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Which did it have to do with breaking a line?
no,
Breaking a line on TSI?
it was
No.
yeah. So basically, I didn't have to fear it going way the heck down and losing because the TSI was already way oversold.
Right.
And I missed that. If I had seen that detail, I would have been confident that no, it's going to go back and it's going to go the way I thought.
So you would have just left it, or would
I would
you
have held.
would you pull out and then set another order?
Yeah, either way. So I probably would have just held on to it. To be honest, I'm good at that usually.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
yeah.
Cool. Well, that's cool to know. Hey, I think that this might be also a good time to share a little bit about, like, because like you've also been on these calls with other people. What are some of the people getting on with those calls with you since you've been like, because people can jump on calls with James, but now they're starting to jump on calls with guys like Matt, and they're starting to jump on calls with you. And I'm just blown away by seeing the results. Like even if I look at the pod chat, today, John Pope is going off on some of the things that he's done with following Matt's instruction. But what was this? 30 pips, hit 30 pips, caught another 30 pips. So he's up 60 right now, just focusing on the instructions of that. And here's where it gets fun, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, do I have your permission to share the excitement?
Let's do it.
So this is directly from a guy that has been under your mentorship and under your coaching. You might know Leighton Williams.
Oh yeah.
So he texts me on the hub today in our little inner circle, because by the way, ladies and gentlemen, when you become a member, you get access to our DM, like our personal DM for your benefit. We're there for you to help you. And you can reach out to James, you can reach out to Zach, you can reach out to any of us on that. So I got to reach out from Leighton today, and he says, "What's up, buddy? Did I dream this? When we first spoke all those months ago, you mentioned the ability to bring in family members, or am I making that up?" So remember, we're a generational wealth building company. So my response to this, we're not going to go into some of the full details of all the other moving parts, but I said immediate family, wife and kids are included, just needing NDA signed to create a profile. That means that you don't have to have, like a lot of other MLMs and all. We're not an MLM, by the way, but MLMs, you would have to have your wife have a thing and your kid have a thing and everybody's got to have a thing and all that kind of stuff. Over here, you just sign an NDA and boom, you get a created profile and they're included in your investment. Extended family will get you a healthy referral commission. So I told him, really simple, 5 referrals gets you 10K. Where here's what I know about other organizations, will not name which ones we've been a part of, but like you got to have sign up like 50 people to make $2,000. That's like, so over here you sign up one and boom, it can change a whole family's month completely, like exponentially. Right. And at 5, you're sitting at five a month. Healthy 5 connections a month is well over 6-figure income. Easy, immediately, right there. And by simply sharing tools, we can help you with all that stuff. But anyway, that's where I'm saying that I'm not going to go that far or that deep. But Leighton now responds. He says, nice. I'm talking about my oldest son who has been visiting us from the UK and been watching me make literally his day's wages in about 10 minutes and wants in. So, he's obviously making, hundreds of bucks, obviously, at this point within, like a day's wages. And he started months ago. Okay. So he's making in a session his kid's day's wages and he wants to get his kid in on this. So I said, well, he's included. Let's get him the NDA, reach out to Donald. And I said, let's do an interview on podcast soon. Next week around this time work for you? And he said, yes, sure. I'm in New York next week, dropping my son off to his team for this season. Should be good to go. So we should have Leighton on next week. I didn't tell anybody. I just did that while we were on here. So hope you guys are okay with that. Are you guys okay with that idea with having Leighton on the podcast next week?
Great.
That's cool, man.
All right.
Come on.
Yeah.
I remember Leighton was in particularly a little bit of a difficult onboarding. He was hesitant. He didn't want to come in. He didn't want to believe it. And we talked to him. It's like, hey man, try it out. We have a great refund policy.
I was hard on him.
That's awesome.
I was hard on him, bro. I was hard on him. I like literally was like, really, dude? Like, and again, he was coming from the organization that will not be named, right? And that's the thing. We're always like working uphill with most people who have had really bad experiences. We get it and we feel you. We understand that frustration. Obviously he's not replacing his income yet, but think that if I think of like my day's wages, like let's say even I was working at McDonald's, like I was making like probably at McDonald's almost $2,000 a month at McDonald's when I was working there. So like,
were you Ronald McDonald?
I was not Ronald. I was not Ronald McDonald.
You do at McDonald's.
Okay, I was on the line. So I was doing a lot of closing shifts, though. I was in school. No, I was making burgers, bro. Making them and eating them. You should have seen pictures of me back then.
So the last 5 weeks in a row, Leighton has got. The last 5 weeks in a row, Leighton has gotten over 100 pips a week.
Boom.
It's amazing.
Wait until he learns the moving parts that you just learned as well.
Oh my gosh!
Because that's an extension to all the things that we have in there right now that you're diving into. That's exciting.
Yeah, and so one of the cool things when I was talking to James Tuesday, I was talking to him about the gate system. I had some suggestions in terms of our spreadsheet about it. He loved it. And then I was like, I want to make a new withdrawal plan for after someone reaches gate 40, which is the $50 lot size. So $50 a pip. And I want to have a different type of withdrawal plan. And so I was just like, just out of curiosity, what would you feel is a reasonable withdrawal plan? His knee-jerk response was, 10K a day. And I'm like, what? So I did the math on it. And I'm like, that's 200 pips a day. And he goes, yeah, okay. So maybe 2 or 3 days. every 2 or 3 days, as soon as you make 10K, you pull it out. And then he's like, and I have suggestions on what you do with it. 2/3 should go here, 1/3 should go there, and this is what. And so he's an accountant, right? So he knows numbers, he knows money, he knows how to move it properly. And so it was just a fun eye-opening thing. And if you really, once you get to gate 40, which I believe is doable within 3 or 4 months, okay, 3 or 4 months. I mean, I got 30 pips yesterday and today. There are days I get over 100 pips in a single day. Today would have been one of those days if I wasn't chickening out on that one trade. Um, it's absolutely doable if somebody just follows the system in the process.
Yeah.
You know what's also doable?
Hmm.
Like if we really paint a picture of like bare minimum, if you spend the next, 6 to 12 months getting really stinking good at 10 pips a day, what do we always say? That's a full-time income. That's
It
a
is.
six-figure income. People
Yep.
don't realize how powerful it is. If you can be that consistent with it, you can scale your stake and make it
Yeah.
very meaningful, right? And so
I just sit here and I think to myself, Leighton is on that call or doing trading for less than an hour a day, maybe 3 to 4 times a day, and he's making, basically what his kid is making at,
On average, Leighton trades 3 days a week.
3 days a week.
So
So so if you tally up those numbers again, like he's making what his kid makes in a day
I
in
mean, so at
percent.
100 pips a week, right? That's 20 pips a day if someone was trading 5 days a week, right? So 100 pips, if somebody's at the $50 a pip, I mean that's 5K a week. I mean that's more than that's a couple full-time incomes for most
Oh,
people.
totally, totally. It's just exciting to see for Leighton just coming in the last month. Obviously, we've had students that make their entire yearly salary in one session, one all day session. But it's just so cool to see that somebody like it's what I'm starting to see is that the momentum is starting to grow in terms of our community catching and sticking and going and growing. Like it's starting to happen faster because not only do our students are measuring and managing, but we're measuring and managing our students. So we're realizing what we need to do to help them get
Exactly.
better. So I just sit here and I think to myself, like in a year from now, where is Leighton going to be? 6 months from now, a year from now, where are they going to be? And like that catalog is starting to build and starting to build and starting to build.
I
Like,
love I
yeah,
love what Matt said here. He'll always have this skill, which is so powerful.
and like I remember Paul, a couple clicks a day. And I think he said 80 minutes a month he was paying off his mortgage.
Yeah.
We don't see from Paul anymore. But I expect in the next 6 months to a year, we're not going to see from Leighton anymore.
Paul,
Yep.
if you're listening, I've called
Right?
you a couple times and left you voicemails and you haven't called me back yet. So.
Yeah. Nick Koenig. We don't hear from that guy
Koenig.
anymore either. That was the guy who
Oh,
Paul gave that.
he's
Remember Paul
yeah.
gave Nick 500. He doubled it within the week, gave him back 550, and then like turned that into 4K. And then he's sending us screenshots of him making basically $2,500 every session. Like,
Yeah.
where is he now? Like they don't like after a while you don't like James mentions that with all of his elite students they because it's weird, like we want to see people move that and shift that, and hopefully they'll stick around and teach others, but there does come a point where some people can't handle being reached out to, and like I'm guessing maybe I feel bad on one hand, but I don't. Leighton said he was going to come on next week, so that's good. But he's
Yeah.
probably going to get people are
He's
going to
gonna
be
get some
reaching out to him.
messages.
He's going to get some messages now, and then he's going to be like, never again. But yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
So,
All right.
well, we got to wrap up here, but just know we do always make pivots in order to help our community continue to grow, continue to be more and more consistent, make more and more income for them and their families. That's our mission. We don't stop when we give you the password, right?
Mhm.
We basically stop when they start ignoring us.
You get my
Because-
phone number and I actually call Paul. I hope he listens to this.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, if you want to learn more and dive into more details, Travis and I were actually talking about getting a package for the more advanced people because we are attracting a lot more of the advanced people right now. So if you want to if you're new to trading, you want to start learning about our process and everything that we got going on and prepare do your due diligence and prepare yourself for your success. You can go to prosperitymovement.online. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat bubble. Just put in your name, phone number, email, and message Blueprint, and we will send you the blueprint completely complimentary and help you get moving and grooving. So I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. You guys have anything else you want to chit chat about before we call it a day?
Nope. I got a
Okay.
call coming up here anyway.
Love y'all. All the best in health, wealth, and relationships.
Bye,
God bless.
guys.
Bye for now.